Ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Legacy and Lux. Today we'll be diving into the world of the Australian Federal Police, an organisation that plays a crucial role in safeguarding Australia's national interests. There is our state police force, who are local law enforcement, and then there's the AFP that operates at a national and international level. Their work extends beyond our borders, liaising with agencies like the Australian Security Intelligence Organisation, Home Affairs and international law enforcement bodies to tackle our national security threats such as terrorism, organised crime, cyber threats and issues that cross state and national borders. Their work doesn't just keep Australians safe at home, it strengthens alliances and partnerships that protect us both in Australia and abroad. Our guest today had spent decades with the AFP, taking on some of the most challenging and high-stakes roles in modern policing. To get into a bit of it, he's worked on the front line of investigations into some of Australia's most serious offences. His work stemmed in leadership as Director of Investigations with the Joint Counter-Terrorism Team, heading up multiple agency teams investigating sensitive terrorism matters both domestically and internationally. In that role, he also worked closely with the Department of Justice and the Commonwealth Director of Public Prosecutions, helping shape how cases were managed and prosecuted in Australia. From there, he became Director of Security with the Specialist Response Group's discreet operations, leading highly specialised teams through complex covert and overt operations, the kind of high-risk precision policing the public rarely sees. From there, he then took on the role of Director of Investigations into Organised Crime, overseeing complex cases targeting serious and organised criminal networks and advising senior executives on national security and strategy. He also served at some of Australia's diplomatic posts. In this offshore role, he represented Australia's law enforcement interests, working alongside global partners on terrorism and special investigations, a position requiring not only operational skill, but diplomacy, strategy, and international relationship building. Across these roles, he has consistently led teams in high-pressure environments, managed sensitive national security investigations, and represented Australia at the highest levels of law enforcement and policing. Having personally dealt with Brian myself, I've had the rare opportunity to see the side of the AFP the public doesn't often get to see. Beyond the headlines and the operations, I've seen how experience in this line of work shape a person's character, values, and leadership skills. That perspective makes today's conversation even more special. Brian, it's an honour to have you today and welcome to the show.
Morning, Yara. Thank you for having me.
Morning, Brian. So I think the first thing we should get into, what inspired you to join the AFP?
So I think for me, it comes from my background. My father was a police officer. So growing up as a child, you look at that, you look at who mentors you, what inspires you. That was a massive part of me. So coming through, I think for me it was always part of my life, something I strive to do.
Yep.
And I was managed to do it. So I was very grateful for that aspect.
And you dedicated a huge part of your life to it. I think, Did it help feeling like you were serving the community and you were protecting Australia's interests? Yeah,
I think it's one of those things that people say, what drives you to go to work? It's being happy. It's knowing that every day something's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen, but at the end of the day, you've done something, you've helped someone.
Yeah, and you're making a difference, essentially. Yeah. That's really motivating. And how did your perspective on success change throughout your career?
I think at the start, it was interesting. At the start, you kind of look at rank. Rank means success. Big jobs mean success. Over the years, you start to change with there's always a big job. Every job in the RFP is a big job, so those big jobs come. And I think at the tail end of it, it comes down to people. For me, a successful leader is someone that if people want to work with you, people are happy to work with you, that's success. So over time you learn from it's not the rank on your shoulder, it's not what you think is success. It's if people will work with you, if you're happy to work with people, to me that's now success.
Yep, beyond the badge.
Beyond the badge.
Yep. Yeah. And it shows that success stems from the true achievements that you do throughout the role and how you're contributing to other people within the organisation, outside the organisation too.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's very admirable. Now let's dive into one of the crucial aspects of being in a high stakes role like that and being so high up really. When it comes to leadership, you've led specialist teams and investigations spanning from counter-terrorism to organised crime groups. In complex, high-stakes environments, what makes a high-performance team work, in your opinion?
I think structure. Structure is very important to me. I think there's basic skill sets that people have. Leadership is a big part of it. I think a good leader will be a confident leader, but it's also having confidence with your peers and with your people. I think I've seen a lot of micromanagement over the years, which has had a flow-on effect to non-successful teams. So if you want to be successful, you have to have trust. You have to have trust in your capabilities. You have to have trust in your partners, and you also have to have trust in your people. But that's a two-way street. So if you're leading these teams, your people or your members or your peers, they have to have the trust in you.
Yeah.
That decisions that you make sometimes quickly, sometimes with time-critical issues at hand, they have to trust that those decisions are going to be based off quality, compliance, capability and leadership.
Mm-hmm. Do you have open communication in the team as well? Do you think that's crucial?
Very.
Yeah.
I think, you have to be able to, sometimes decisions will get made where it's questioned. People have to be able to question those decisions in the right way and just have that comfort to sit there and say, can we do something better? Or I have an option or I have an opinion. Can we look at that quickly?
Yep. Yeah. Then when the pressure is on then and failure isn't an option, obviously, how do you keep a team motivated and focused in an environment like that?
You just have to drive forward. You have to have that end point. For every operation, for every task, there's a start point, there's an end point. And that starts with your briefings. This is what we want to get to. This is how we're going to get there. Let's work together and let's move it.
Yep.
And sometimes that deviates along the way. That's just circumstances. But it's just always having that end goal at the back of your mind.
Yep. And that demonstrates how as a leader you can help lead them into the right direction and to stay focused on the task at hand. Yep. Okay. And how do you manage checking in on them individually? You know, because sometimes people in that high pressure environment can get really stressed out. And when you're managing such large teams across with multiple units, or if they have different targets, how are you able to manage that as a leader essentially?
I think it changes from, you'll have certain teams that you know the people very well. So you just look at their mannerisms. Other times you'll be running large operations where you don't know everyone. So a lot of it just comes from, you have to have that time and experience just to watch people, just to watch how they react.
Yeah.
Everyone reacts differently to stress. And it's just about identifying, is that person stressed, who can comfort them or who can talk to them, who can get them through it, who can work together. Because at the end of the day, if you try to do everything yourself, it's not going to be successful.
Yeah.
So you have to rely on every single person as a team and just watch people and get people through sometimes in those stressful situations.
Yeah. And then you're all united in that one goal to get to. All right. What did you learn about leadership that you think translates beyond law enforcement, so even into business or everyday life?
For me, no, you're not perfect.
Okay.
You have to know that you don't know everything. Every day you learn something. Every task is different. Every operation is different, whether it's law enforcement, whether it's in the corporate world. You don't know everything. So it's just having that comfort to sit there, open your eyes, open your ears, listen to people. And if you don't know something, ask for help or ask for an opinion or just ask for some type of guidance.
Yep. That highlights accountability and the need for people to take accountability of their actions and what to do. I think that's something a lot of people struggle with. So what would be your piece of advice for people to be able to be accountable within themselves and with others to say, you know, these are areas we can focus on, this is how we can improve, etc.?
I think self-reflection. Mm-hmm. Self-reflection is very important and it takes a lot of maturity. Definitely it took me a long time to be able to self-reflect. I'm definitely not sitting here saying I'm perfect.
I mean, you're doing well today. So we can see it come to fruition.
Self-reflection is good, but it takes time. It takes maturity. It takes comfort in yourself to sit there. We used to call it a 360 review, to sit there and go to someone that isn't your peer or it's not your personal friend, to sit there and say, can you do a 360 on me? Be honest, be open, be transparent, because at the end of the day, if you think you're perfect, you're not perfect.
Yeah.
And if you can't self-reflect, you're never going to improve.
So you did that consistently where you would get feedback within the teams and you can have someone, that's really good. Okay.
Sometimes you ask for it.
Yep.
Sometimes you didn't ask for it.
Yep.
Sometimes it just came.
Yeah. So accountability is one of the bigger values of the AFP as well. And that's represented through how you manage the teams. What qualities or habits do you think allowed you to rise through the ranks at such a critical organisation?
You definitely had to have drive to move through. You definitely had to have passion in the role. Mm-hmm. I think if you don't have that drive and if you don't have that passion, you won't succeed. It's ebbs and flows. Sometimes it's a successful ride. Sometimes it's not a successful ride. And I think having that resilience that not every time that you try to progress through, you'll be successful. So it's just having that resilience to sit back and go, okay, I wasn't successful this time. Pick myself up, learn from it, learn where I can improve, and then go again.
Yep, that's a really good one because I think sometimes people give up really quickly or they lose hope. So they don't keep pushing at it or be persistent and get there in the very end. I think out of personal experience with you as well, you remain calm under pressure, which is very rare for a lot of people.
Yara.
I think that's helped remaining calm in those environments and then helping lead those people through.
Yeah. I think I get, it's not excitement, but it's comfort in those stressful situations. It's, for me, it's about you spend your life training, you spend your life building your capability, and I like to get tested in that aspect. For me, there was nothing more exciting than that next job, that big job that comes in. It's stressful, but that's where you get to showcase this is who we are. This is why we're specialist teams. This is why we're a leading agency. Let's prove it. Let's go forth. So for me, those situations were quite exciting.
Okay. Did you have any rituals before you started the day to manage your stress or stay clean mind? Coffee.
Coffee.
All right. Well, you are a big coffee drinker. Brian loves his coffee. He loves it.
I think I used to have this thing where sometimes big jobs would come in or you got a big briefing. So the first thing was always 5 minutes spare. So one of the things I used to do, get a brief, important job, go downstairs, get a coffee, take 5 minutes, have a think, what's next, what do we have to do, go back upstairs and then go forth.
Yeah, that sounds good. It sounds like a coffee catch-up before, you got to take out the big guns.
Got to get the coffee.
All right. You've had to manage relationships at the very top, but also at a local level with state agencies and operational teams on the ground. How did you balance building trust and influence across such different environments?
I think personality comes a lot with trust. You can be professional, but you can also be yourself. I think if you can't be yourself, you're not going to get that trust because people see through you very quickly, especially in those types of environments. You spend a lot of your time looking at people, profiling people. You have a lot of expertise. So I think if you want to build trust, it comes with experience, but then it also comes with be yourself because people work for people and people trust people. So if you can't be yourself, people won't trust you.
Yeah, agreed. And do you think at different levels you've got to treat people a bit differently in terms of the way you interact with them? Should it be more professional at a certain level compared to another level?
Definitely, I think group environments, rank's very important. Respect for the rank is very important. So if you're in a group setting where you have multiple people, it's very much rank orientated and you respect the rank. But then also behind closed doors, if you have that personal approach with people, you can still be personal.
Yeah,
it still comes down to people.
Agreed. Because at the end of the day, behind that rank as well and that badge, people need to respect you as an individual, how you hold yourselves and your values as a leader as well. Because I think at the end of the day, people respect others when they look up to them.
Yep.
And if you don't hold yourself to a certain standard and take accountability, you won't be able to garner that respect. So it speaks a lot when you can do that for yourself and then people respect you beyond the rank and can follow your lead and really trust you as you take them and lead them on into whatever, target you've got or whatever mission you've got, right?
I like it. Yep.
Yeah.
It's good.
I've got some good advice too. You know that. Commitment is a core value of the AFP. What does true commitment look like in a role where the demands are so high and the risks are very real?
I think commitment comes down to it's not so much excessive hours. It's not so much about working past or giving things for free. I think commitment in those roles is just about doing your best, knowing your skill sets, putting those skill sets forth, and then if you're lacking in some type of area, when you have time, pick those skill sets up. Go seek courses, go seek advice, go seek guidance. So for me, commitment is just about what you can do the best of your ability, and then try and improve it later.
Agreed. And that circles back to what you said earlier about no one is perfect, but also working on always growing and improving yourself, but not beating yourself too hard up when you don't really get there at one point, because you can if you keep going and stay persistent.
There's a fine line between caring for a result or over-caring for a result, removing that work-life balance, removing people from around you. Yes, the job's the job. There's a lot of high stakes, but still you have to be able to balance what's important to you, what's outside, personal relationships outside the job, inside the job. So it's just about finding that balance if you overcompensate for one aspect, you're going to fall over in the other, and then all of a sudden, at some point, you leave the job. At some point, the job's finished. You still have to go back to friends.
Agreed. And that's a good point that you bring up, because I think with a role in a position like that, I think it's different to having a 9 to 5 where you can just cut off at 5 and not think about work until the next day. Finding that work-life balance is a bit more intricate and different to how it would be to a regular job. What would be another piece of advice on that you can help with? Because I assume that it's hard for you to find the time to do a lot outside of what you're working on. So how can someone find that balance and be able to spend time when they need to on other things to either de-stress, whether it's exercise or could be yoga, meditation, whatever it is?
I think for me, it was about not pushing everyone away, like personal friends, family, things like that.
Family,
so if you're at work, if a friend texts you, answer the text. It's about work's work. Your private life's your private life.
Yep.
It's find that balance to integrate the two, because once you shut one aspect out, the other one gets affected. So
agreed.
If it's a 30-second phone call, take the 30-second phone call. Obviously, there's times that you can't do it, but don't shut people out just for the sake of a job.
Okay. So the biggest highlight is really essentially find that balance, because the balance is there, but it's just about managing your time right.
Yeah.
And obviously knowing what to prioritize at the time, depending on what you're doing as well. All right. What's it like carrying that responsibility, knowing that the advice and the decisions you make impact others?
I think it gives a sense of purpose. It gets a sense of the advice that you provide does have an impact. It does go places. Sometimes you don't know how far it goes, but it's just about just having that experience, having that knowledge to sit there and say, if I'm going to make a decision, just put a bit of thought process into it, back yourself with confidence, but don't back yourself with arrogance. And I think there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. Confidence comes across successful. Arrogance comes across as foolish and non-trustworthy. So it's just making sure that advice that you give will have an impact somewhere, and just make sure that if you are going to give advice, that you can back up that advice with experience or fact.
On that note, though, I think some people find confidence arrogance at times, because people assume if you speak highly of something, although you're quite confident in your skills in an area, they try to belittle that because, I don't know, they may feel threatened or they think they know better. How can you manage that?
I think sometimes it's hard. I think one person will see it as arrogance, the other person will see it as confidence. I think a lot of it comes down to the situation. A lot of it comes down to whether you know the person, but then also how it's portrayed by the person. You can confidently say something that doesn't come across as arrogance, but also if you say it another way, it's arrogant. So it's about fine-tuning confidence, but don't be arrogant.
Yep, I agree. And then how do you balance giving honest assessments of risk while also understanding the political and the public pressures that decision makers face?
I think you have to understand when you're making those decisions, it's understanding who you're providing that to and how that affects them. A lot of organisations have different type of risk appetites. So when you start to provide that advice, it's be as factual as possible, and just keep it simple. This is the situation. This will have the impact. But here's a recommendation to move forth. I think anytime you start to look at risk, it's uncertainty. So if you can provide an unhealthy risk situation, but if you can also provide those recommendations to mitigate those risks, that provides a level of comfort to people that you're providing that information to.
And how do you think on your feet quickly? Because I can assume there are times where you need to make a decision really quickly.
Yep.
And that's something a lot of people also struggle with.
It takes time.
Okay.
I think it's just one of those things. For me, it's confidence, but also comes from previous experiences. And I think sometimes you have to go through bad situations to be able to make good decisions in the future. I think that there's an old thing that if you never go through anything that ever goes wrong, you've never really been tested. So unfortunately, sometimes you have to go through those bad situations to understand if this occurs, this is the flow and effect. So sometimes failure is a good thing because you learn from failure more than what you do learn from success.
It's like a lesson, essentially. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think a lot of people look at being higher up always is that you carry that level of responsibility so you can think quick on your feet just like that. But I think the personalities and the characters behind that rank and that badge or whatever role you're in speaks to what character you are and what experiences that you had to go through to get to that point.
Yep.
It's not textbook knowledge. It's life experience that got you to that point.
And I think that's that difference between textbook knowledge and real life experiences. For me personally, you can't compete with real life. You can read a book about something, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be successful in going through it. So real life experience for me far outweighs reading a book. Yeah,
I agree definitely with that. Now, in terms of your international experience, your time overseas put you at the front line of international cooperation. What was the biggest learning you took from working with foreign partners?
Just about understanding and learning what drives them, what's their priorities. We're very good with knowing inside our own organisation what our priorities are, but when you start to work with overseas partners, there's a lot of different priorities, there's a lot of different drives, there's a lot of different political environments that you have to work through. So it's about sitting back, watching, thinking, asking the questions, what's important to you.
Yeah, and being more aware of the other culture and the other partner, what they're looking for, what their goals are, and really working to align that as well.
Yeah.
You would say that, yeah. And then do you have to look at earning their trust at the same time? And
I think trust comes with everything. And a lot of that trust comes with your experience. One of the first things that people ask is, tell me about your experience. And I think that's that first step to sit there and say, who is this person? What have they done?
Yeah.
Do they have the runs on the board per se? Or have they just, do they not have the experience? So trust in that world comes with experience.
Yeah. And how important is trust and the relationship building at that time when you're dealing with them on sensitive issues like counter-terrorism, for example? Sorry, on terrorism.
Yeah, trust is everything. I think whether it's corporate life, whether it's law enforcement life, trust is that basic starting point of a relationship building.
You've got to look at respecting differences while maintaining that common ground and that level of trust as well.
Yep.
Do you need to handle that sensitively, or are people usually open about being on the same page where we have a common goal and we respect each other so we can look at these differences and try to find?
I think that world, everyone's pretty much open. You're all out for the same outcomes. You're all out to drive forward in that same strategic direction. So honesty up front is one of the biggest parts. There's no point in hiding things behind closed doors. We all want to get to the same end point. So let's start off by talking with each other and working each other's priorities.
And I would assume these international counterparts, they share the same values or very similar values, the goals of the organisation here in Australia. And that's what makes it very successful, where we can work on these issues together. Would you say?
Very much so.
Yeah. Okay. Now, in terms of your personal self-reflection, when you think about legacy, now after dedicating a long part of your life to service, what does that word mean to you now? It could be beyond medals or titles, for example.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Legacy, if you were asked that question, it would be, I liked working with him. It's not about the successes, it's not about the jobs, it's not about this, it's about that. For me, it's very much people-based, person-based. My legacy is hopefully people enjoyed working with me and for me, and that's how you would like to be remembered.
Yeah, and they remember Brian as the man of trust and leadership.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. No, I think you'd be on a good track. And then I think leaving, again, the organisation, the community stronger, like you said earlier, and following your dad's footsteps.
Yeah.
I think that's also part of the legacy, right? He brought it down to you and you'll bring it down. Yeah.
And it was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
Good way to start and good way to finish.
Yep. No, that's really good. And then after all these years in the AFP, do you still find yourself observing people and their mannerisms?
Yes. I think it's one of those things that you never stop doing. And it's just out of habit that you'll see something. So you look at it, you observe it, you have a thought process. It's just something that never leaves you, I think.
Do you find that helps you, being able to understand people on that level? Because I think people's actions and the way their body language goes around makes you understand a lot more than their words do at times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people's actions speak far greater than words. So it's just that you just never stop doing it. It's just one of those things.
I think it's something that does help you, because I think when you can understand someone on a level past the their looks and what they say, it helps you get on the same page with them or manage them, whether in different leadership roles, whether it's out in your personal life, in corporate, in the police. I think it's something you can take across every aspect of life.
Yeah, I think so, because people are people. People have their own idiosyncrasies. And for me, it's about actions, not so much words. So when you observe people, when you watch people, it's about what they're doing, not what they're saying. It can be intriguing at times. It can be entertaining at times.
Yep, I can assume so, yeah. No, that's quite good. And I guess for the final piece, what piece of advice would you give to someone starting out fresh or looking to get into the Australian Federal Police? Because you don't hear about them as often as you do state police, but I think the work that you do really speaks for itself, and you operate at a level far beyond a lot of the organisations we've got locally, and the efforts are there, but it's always nice, I think, for the viewers to know what to expect and what sort of advice you can give. Be
yourself, enjoy the ride. There's a lot of opportunities that you would get. It's a very exciting ride. Don't say no to anything. Excuse me. And, enjoy it. Be yourself. All right. No, that's really good. Thank you, Brian. I think it was very exciting conversation to have today, to get a glimpse of what the AFP was about and is about. I guess that's something the public doesn't really get to hear about. You guys really do a lot of the work behind the scenes, and there's a lot of effort at a national, international level from the organisation. So I guess it's nice to hear it in person from someone that's been there and has done that and gotten the pieces of advice from you. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Brian.